9-91, copy and complete each of the diamond problems below. The pattern used in the diamond problem is shown at right. So this is the pattern. So we know that we've got a number on this side and on this side, two different numbers. And to get the top part, we multiply those numbers together to get the product. And then to get the bottom part, we add those two numbers together to get the sum. Okay, so now let's take a look at our first problem, and we see we've got the top, which is the product, 1.5, and then we have one of the numbers on the side, and we need to figure out what this and this are. So this times whatever this number is will equal 1.5. So we could figure out what this one is by taking 1.5 and dividing it by 0.3. So let's do that and see what we come up with. So I'm going to do that over here in the margin. So 1.5 divided by 0.3. And when you're doing this kind of division, you just take the decimal point and move it back one. Okay, so now basically we have 15 divided by 3. And we know that's 5. Okay, so that's our number over here. And we could check that by doing 5 times 0.3. And of course, when you're doing multiplication like this, you have to count how many numbers are behind the decimal point. So here it's 0. Here we've got 1 digit behind the decimal point. Then when we multiply this, we get 15. And then we have to figure out, so we add these together. We know there's 1 digit behind the decimal point, so we would put the point right there. So we can see that worked out because when we multiply 5 times 0.3, we got 1.5, which is what we had up there. Okay, so adding 5 and 0.3 is fairly easy because you just you line up where the decimal points are. So 5 has a decimal point after it, and then we've got 0.3, and so once we add these together, it's 5.3, and that goes down below. Okay, so again, we'll be working with decimal places. So here, it's 17 times 0.2. So we don't have any digits behind a decimal point here, but we've got 1 behind the decimal point here. Now when we multiply these together, 2 times 7 is 14. 2 times, that's 2 plus 1 is 3. Okay, and then we see how many digits are behind the decimal point, and it's got to be 1, so 3.4. So that is our product, 3.4. And then, of course, we will line up, when we're adding, you line up the decimal points again. And so we would get 17.2 as the sum. Okay, so let's do the next one. This one is 2.6 times 0.2, and in this case we've got 1 number behind the decimal point, and this one we've got 1 number behind. So now we just multiply this as if it didn't have any decimal points. 2 times 6 is 12, so 2 carry the 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. And then we'll add up the decimal numbers behind the digits behind the decimal point. Now we need to have 2 digits behind the decimal point. So 1, 2, we have to put the decimal point here. Okay. Oops, that was for multiplying. Darn it. We should have been dividing. All right. So let me do that. Okay, so it's 2.6 divided by 0.2. We move the decimal point behind 1, and 2 divides 26 by 13 times. And so this is actually 13. So we can check this. So 13 times 0.2, 1 digit behind the decimal point, 0. That's 6, 26, 1 digit behind the decimal point, 2.6. Okay, and that matches up with this, so that's correct. Okay, so here we are going to line up the decimal points. So that's 0.2 here. So that's 13.2. And that goes down here, 13.2. All right, last one. 70 has to be divided by 3.5. So 70 divided by 3.5. So we need to move that decimal point. And here we're going to have to add a 0 to be able to move the decimal point. So 35 divided into 700. 35 goes into 70 twice. So that's 70. And then it doesn't go anymore, but we've got a 0 there. Okay, so that is 20. So 20 times 3.5 is 70. And then here we've got to line these two up. And so we'll know that this is going to be 23.5 because the decimal point is here. So if we line that up, it's 23.5.